Welcome to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, write in and let us know at 252-582-5028. Or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right, and we want you guys to help us keep the conversation moving forward. You can support the show by sharing it online with your friends and family. You can leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Absolutely nothing less. We're going to leave a link in the description so you can do just that.
Today is April the 10th, which means that our Date the Word is coming to you today from James chapter 4, verse 10. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up.
Simple, ain't it? That's simple advice.
You would think so.
Why we can't do it? Why is it so hard to humble ourselves, man? I don't know what it is, but the older I've gotten, the more difficult this has become for me. And I have no clue what it is. I wouldn't consider myself a proud person, and yet there are moments where I feel the Holy Spirit saying, you have to humble yourself. And it's almost like, no, I can't. You know what I mean?
See, I hear you. It's almost an opposite struggle for me. Like, really? I struggle with pride, but in a more negative light. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not humbling myself. For me, almost mentally, it's like humiliating myself. Yeah. Like, I'm very down on myself and very negative on myself. I'm better now, yeah, but that's always been kind of a struggle for me, is just kind of like beating myself up, that negative self-talk. But we trick ourselves into believing that is humility. That's not humility. That's just pride in a negative skin.
That's true. That's true. Jesus was the most humble person who ever lived. It says he literally humbled himself just in becoming a human being. And yet he knew his worth. He knew his mission, and he wasn't going to be stopped from it. He was still that determined, confident person, and yet he was humble. And so I think that kind of speaks to me in a sense that, you know, to do what God has told you to do, despite the implications or the complications or whatever may come of it, that is true humility. I just want to remind you guys, this episode is brought to you in part by the Date the Word app. That's where all these verses are coming from, and you can download it for free right now on iPhone and Android. Every single day connects today's date to God's Word with the hope of making it more memorable for you. A lot of people, Ryan, are loving the Wednesday games that we've been doing. The haiku game was a good one. I have another idea for a game that I want to introduce maybe in a couple weeks with Dr. Shah, but I have one that I wanted to run by you. This one was kind of fun.
Wednesday wordplay.
It's going to be Wednesday Wordle.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to figure out how that's going to work. I don't know how it's going to work yet. I'm talking to Dr. Shah about how we can kind of bring that in, because he's a big Wordle guy as well. We played this at lunch yesterday. I'm going to think of a noun, okay? And you try to guess the noun that I'm thinking of. And it's not going to be like an ethereal thing. It'll be an object you can hold. Okay. Or an object just that I can touch, a tangible thing. And you're gonna guess it. I'm gonna give you how close you are on a scale of 1 to 100. Okay. So 100 is you've got it. 1 is like you're nowhere close. Gotcha. So let's and then you guess again, and then it's kind of like hot and cold. Okay. You understand? Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and think of a noun. Let me see. What's something? Okay, I got it. And
now so I just name literally a random noun, and you're going to tell me how close I am.
The number, the closer it is to 100, the hotter you are.
Okay. All right. Aquarium.
50.
Okay. All right. Ocean.
30. Oh, I'll say 20 on that one. Yeah, 20.
Zoo.
10.
Dang. Window.
60.
Okay. Door.
60.
Wall.
55.
Living room.
63.
Man, I feel like I've hit a ceiling.
No.
Well, ceiling.
62.
Okay. Office.
65.
Wow. Okay.
You're getting there though. No, you're getting there.
Attic.
50.
Well.
It's tough. Desk. It's a fun game. Okay. 68. You're getting there. We're getting into, you see where you say you're getting into the realm of like furniture and stuff?
Yeah. Chair.
60. Well, I say 65.
Okay. Desk is the closest I've gotten so far.
Yeah.
Table.
70.
Table.
It's something you'd find in a room. I mean, you're getting there.
Okay. I don't know where to go from here.
It doesn't have to be an office or a living.
Yeah.
It could just be any piece of furniture and or appliance.
Man.
You're good.
Microwave.
80.
Wow. Okay. Oven.
80. 75. Yeah, 80. I'll say 80.
Refrigerator.
That's it. 100. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a
Okay.
refrigerator.
All right.
That's the game.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a fun game. We might play it with Dr. Shah when he comes in. But
I was so stuck in furniture, and then I was like, okay, in a room, not necessarily furniture.
I was looking around and I saw the little mini fridge right there. So yeah.
Nice.
It's a refrigerator.
Okay,
That's the
we
game.
made
It's
it
just
there.
a fun, quick game that you can play. You can play that if you've got I love playing these little fun, quick games that don't take very long. I learned that from you because you do I wanted to do Valley of the Green Glass Doors.
Yeah.
Problem is Ryan is impossible to fool. You can't get past those little nothing game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're called. I've been working on one, the Johnny Whoop.
Oh, yeah.
I've been working on that for like what, 5-6 years.
Yeah, I've got like 80 or 90 of those different little games.
Yeah, that one might be fun for the radio. The only problem is I have to get it in the segment.
Well,
and I've been working on it for 5 years.
The radio may not quite get that one
True.
because it's a visual game
But
too.
we're gonna start introducing those on Wednesday. We're gonna bring
love
Dr.
it.
Shah in, see if he can guess it as well.
I love it. Write in and let us know if you have any games like that, any suggestions like that you want to see or listen to on the radio. We'd love to hear from you. 252-582-5028.
We're gonna start a Wordle thread, I think, pretty soon. Maybe it'll be like not on the newsletter, but like a Wordle, just a Wordle thread, I guess.
Yeah.
That you guys can join as well. We want you to send your submissions in.
That's awesome. Write in and let us know your games, or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. We're going to run this one by Dr. Shah. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What's going on, listeners? My name is John.
And I'm David.
And we hope you are enjoying the podcast thus far.
You know, we really appreciate how many of you download the podcast every day.
Right.
But we also want to remind you that we are first and foremost a radio show.
Clearview Today is actually syndicated through the Truth Network. And we just want to let you know right now that in addition to hosting the all-time best Christian talk show of all time,
Hashtag Clearview Today.
Hashtag Clearview Today, the Truth Network also, as it turns out, has an extensive library of Christian programming.
We really love everything they're doing at the Truth Network because the whole goal is to encourage, challenge, confront, and uplift listeners with the life-changing truth of Jesus Christ through Christian Talk Radio.
And listen, we know we are not the only show wanting to expand its audience. So if you have a vision for your show or for your ministry, why don't you consider syndicating your show through the Truth Network? Because they rely on decades of experience of self-syndication with a full array of features for your long-form or short-form content.
Make sure you visit the Truth Network online today at truthnetwork.com, or you can give them a call at 336-759-0363. Again, that's 336-759-0363. Well, John, are you ready?
I was born ready, my friend. Let's hop right back in.
All right.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
That's right, and we are here once again in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who is a PhD in New Testament textual criticism. Dr. Shah, I got a game for you this morning. I'm going to think of an object.
Okay.
I want you to try to guess what the object is, and depending on how close you are, I'm going to give you a number between 1 and 100. So it's sort of like a hot and cold game.
Because if the number is high, it
It means you're very hot. You're very warm.
okay. Low is it's not.
Low
okay,
is
got
not
you.
warm. And
Okay.
and 100 is you got it.
You got it.
So, all right, I'm thinking of an object.
Apple.
10. This is the game. This is where you're like, okay, let me start seeing.
Radio?
80.
Ooh.
Wow.
Microphone?
100. How did you do that? I shouldn't have picked something so obvious. That was it. It was the
You
microphone.
did so much better than I did.
I can't, haters are gonna say it's fake. Haters are gonna say we cheated. Dr. Shah, did I tell you ahead of time what it was?
No, I had no clue.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, yeah. That was
What did I
it.
say about me?
I think we're gonna add Super Sleuth to the top of the titles at the top of the episode.
Sleuth.
I'm the
Professor,
Doctor-
Carolina
Dr.
University,
Detective.
author, full-time pastor, and the world's greatest detective.
Dr. Detective.
They will stand and they will say, "How clever is Abedon Shah?" From Hercule Poirot.
Sorry.
Never mind.
Okay.
You haven't seen the film.
Well.
But you don't have the mustache.
I don't have the mustache.
That's what it was.
Not even close.
The lack of mustache threw me. Well, Dr. Shah, on today's episode, we're continuing this conversation we've had over the past few episodes. People have written and they've loved these episodes on what it means to judge people, what Christ really meant in those verses, and how we should think about judgment in our lives. In light of our conversation and where we're headed today, what encouragement do you want to give our listeners?
Well, my encouragement to you, again, keeping in line with the whole judgment theme, is daily examine yourself. Daily examine yourself. Take the time to just see where you are. And are you where you need to be in your relationship with God? Are you where you need to be in your relationship with yourself? And that's important, because if you are lying to yourself, if you're being untrue to the person God has called you to be, that's not good. And then examine where you are in your relationship with other people, starting with your family, with your spouse, with your children, with the people you work with. Where are you with them?
That's right.
And so I would say daily take an account. I do that during my devotional time. I just kind of ask myself, am I still in a relationship with God? Am I still where I need to be with myself? Or am I lying to myself? I mean, mine is food habits. Am I pretending that I'm really doing well, but I'm not? So anyways, that's long answer to a short question.
Well, no, I think it's a great encouragement, especially because today's date, the word is from James 4:10, where it says, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord. And I mean, it really does take some humility to give that honest account.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a line that you wrote. I don't know if we have a copy of it in here. I'll see if I can remember it. But there was a line you wrote in one of your devotionals. I think it was 30 Days to a New Beginning, where Paul says to be sober-minded. And there was a line that you wrote where it was like, have you ever heard a drunk person give an account for themselves? It's the greatest thing ever. They're like a hero. They have cured cancer. They have saved the world. They have pulled orphans out of a burning building.
Yeah.
But if you're truly sober-minded, if you're humble, you will tend to find, it's not that you're just picking apart yourself, but you're finding the honest places where you need the Lord's guidance.
Right.
And so that kind of is what, that encouragement was kind of helpful for me even today.
Yeah.
Be sober in judging yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a good reminder for us to, like you said, take time and just take inventory of where we are.
That's right.
So many times I feel like we're just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. But really taking that time to slow down and take a critical look at where you are and some shortcomings in your life that maybe have crept in that you haven't nipped in the bud as we should.
Like Barney would say.
Exactly.
Shout out to Barney Fife.
Nip it in the bud.
You know, it's funny because a lot of the people who listen to the show that write in are in leadership positions in ministry.
Yes, they
and
are.
so when you are in like a leadership or a management position, you take so much time taking inventory of everything else.
Yeah.
You know, is everything that I'm putting into place, whether it's the people or the programs or the infrastructure or whatever, is all these things working? But I agree with you. I a lot of times will neglect that time to say, am I working?
Yeah.
You know, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is my spiritual life where it needs to be?
Right.
Yeah. It's a struggle. And I think it's something that over the past couple of days, people have been texting in and they've been saying, we really like this because, and it is always kind of fun when we talk about judging people and like, well, now I have kind of carte blanche access to judge people and to put my judgment and my opinions out there, but Jesus never asked for our opinions.
Well, and I think it really illustrates people have had a misunderstanding of this passage.
Yeah.
Of, we just shouldn't judge people. Just, let people live their life. They don't agree with me. That's fine. I'm going to be over here in my relationship with God. But it's more than that. It's more than that because we've talked about people who, maybe they hold beliefs about homosexual marriage or transgenderism, but then it's the infringement upon our beliefs
Right.
that causes a problem. And that's where the judgment comes in. Like, no, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong because I've got to hold this line of truth.
Well, we have spent a lot of time in the past 2 episodes dealing with how judgment is being misused, or the idea of judging is being misused in our culture.
Right.
And it's being used by people who are living a questionable, immoral, unethical lifestyle, or have a value system that is contrary to the Bible. And yes, you have the freedom to do that, but you don't have the freedom to infringe on my freedom.
Right.
You don't have the freedom to tell me how I can preach in our church. Can't do that. You cannot start impacting the children of families that don't have your values.
Right.
Going to the school, but now this is being force-fed, coming down the pike, and they have to believe a distorted, horrible, moral, sexual idea.
Yeah.
Now they have to learn this when they shouldn't. So anytime we say, you shouldn't do that, people say, well, wait, you should not be telling me how to live my life. I can do what I want to, and this is what makes America free. Yes, it makes America free, but your freedom is also costing our freedom.
Right.
Now we have a problem.
Right. And it's not, and it isn't true the other way around. And it's not that upholding Christian values is costing someone their freedom. You know, it may cost you your freedom to sin, to engage in sin, but at the same time, the reason that you have that freedom in the first place is because of the Judeo-Christian values that the country is built upon.
Yeah, and it's a complex argument, and people who just want to make a quick point and bully their way through a premise, they won't, or not premise, a syllogism. They will just say it and just say, see, I told you, and it doesn't work. It's like, wait, there are tons of logical fallacies in what you've just said.
Right.
And let's stop. But if you're willing to listen, think about it.
I think that's a good problem with, not a good problem, that's a good example of the problem that we have because everything is so sensationalized through media.
Yeah.
You don't have the time to parse out all those ideas and actually have that discussion.
Who is going to listen? Are you listening?
Right.
Many times people are not listening. They're already talking over you.
Yeah, or they're formulating their counterattack to what they think you're going to say.
They're not listening to what I'm saying. They just, you're right.
But
exactly.
you see like you have, it's like you're going to have this great, awesome political, ideological, philosophical discussion in about 30 minutes to an hour on some YouTube channel or whatever. And so that's where I think a lot of our young people, even like millennials like me, are getting our ideas from. But we don't understand it's a production.
Yeah.
It's not, or it's something that has been sensationalized. It's not true. Like Jesus would never do that. Jesus would not set up like an hour-long discussion where we're just going to give our back and forth and stage it like it's actually a trading of ideas.
I can't tell you how many times we've talked about that in Illuminate over the past, almost 10 years that I've been here. But what you see on social media is absolutely not reality.
Right. Yeah.
It is a production. It is polished. It is, if you don't believe there's an agenda behind it, you're fooling yourself.
It's done to get likes.
That's right.
And students are often shocked by that, but parents are also often shocked by that. I'm like, there is an agenda behind every video, every post. Not that there's not truth in them. I mean, some of them have good information in them, but there's absolutely an agenda behind everything that you.
Yeah, there's no. I can't think of a single show or production out there who is truly neutral to the point where it's like, I'm going to bring them in just to have them. Like even us, like our agenda is to spread the gospel of Christ.
Yeah,
that's what so we're not.
We just tell you the agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that's our bent. That's our bias. We're on Christian radio.
Yeah.
There's no.
But at least we try to be objective.
Yeah.
True.
In saying things like, yes, you have the freedom in America, but you don't have the freedom to infringe on my freedom.
Right.
But then you may say, I'm infringing on your freedom. But my question to you is then, how am I infringing on your freedom? Yes, you have the right to choose that lifestyle. But no, you don't have the right to lobby for a law that's going to come down and make innocent children learn about a lifestyle that they have no business knowing.
Yeah, but that's what I want, though. That's what I want. So you are infringing on my freedom. If I can't do it,
that's
what it is.
I mean? It's so this is why this show exists.
Right, exactly.
We can deal with those fine points.
Right, exactly. And that's why sometimes we'll spend 3 days talking about one topic because it is very, very dense and very complex.
Yeah.
And then the last show we talked about the family discussion because Jesus said those words about, don't be so concerned about the speck in your eye when there's a whole log sitting in your eye.
Right.
Right.
it is in the context of a brother talking, accusing his brother of a speck in his eye.
Right.
So this is a family discussion. So that's a whole different kind of judgment.
Yeah.
But today I want to focus one step further, which is Matthew 7:6, where it really comes down to a very important principle, which is it worth it?
True.
Is it
It's kind of funny because, well, here's the thing. The things that we have been talking about, we believe are truly, truly worth it. And yet there are smaller things that, like we're going to talk about here for the rest of the show, that Christians just like to fight.
Yeah.
They just like to bicker. Even I'm that way. You know, I like the what is it? The game of the argument, the back and forth.
Well, there's one thing to be said for that kind of playful, like jesting with one another, and even like debating with one another. There's a place for that. But when it crosses over into the arguing territory, I mean, that's when feelings start to get hurt, and people will say things that they really didn't mean or wish they could take back.
Yeah.
That's when things get problematic.
Yeah, and it's something that I think we do, and we do over little small petty stuff.
Yeah.
And this, maybe we should put a disclaimer here. We're not talking about like doctrine, because a lot of people will use this argument. It's like, well,
See, it was amazing how quickly this has been twisted as well. Go ahead and finish
people will say, okay, so but y'all will say that baptism is not necessary for
Look,
salvation.
in heaven, none of this is going to matter.
Right, of course, right. So whether you were baptized or not, but then they'll say, but if you're not baptized, you're not going to know heaven. So we're not saying this is not a thing about secondary, primary, tertiary doctrines. Honestly, I don't even know how much I believe in that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like that there are secondary and primary.
No, I used to years and years ago until I realized they're all connected.
Right.
Exactly.
Not that I'm going to sit here and lose friendship over a tertiary issue, but to even categorize them is naive.
Right.
Because my tertiary issues are being derived from my secondary, which are being derived from my primary issues or primary beliefs and doctrines.
Yeah. I think we made this comparison earlier in the show, but they're like dominoes. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but ultimately they can still impact one another if you start to knock them down.
Right. But long story short, what we're talking about today is not to be applied to the doctrine of Christ.
Right.
Because those things are genuinely worth it, no matter how insignificant they may seem.
Yeah.
Look back in the history of our world, especially if you want to focus on just the past 500 years since the Protestant Reformation. So many people died holding on to the beliefs that we take as just an everyday thing. They gave their lives. They were burned at the stakes. They were beheaded. They were drowned in the rivers just because they were standing for these doctrines. So doctrines do matter.
Yeah.
But in this situation, what Jesus does here is right after in Matthew 7, where he talks about judgment and not judging and all that stuff, about remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. And then he talks about hypocrite and all that stuff. Let's see. I'm trying to get to the right one. Then it comes to verse 6. He says, do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces.
It seems like out of context, he's changing subjects.
Yeah.
Like what does this have to do with judgment? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's with the dogs and the pearls and the swine? That's got nothing to do with a speck in your brother's eye.
Right. Has nothing to do with like being a hypocrite or whatever.
Or
Shifted
judgment.
gears quickly.
Yeah. What if he hasn't switched gears? What if he hasn't left the topic?
I remember,
what is he saying then?
Well, we did talk about these other 2 days, these other 2 episodes, these conditions of judgment. And so it's like, I guess this is the third condition. This is sort of his continuation of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So I think what Jesus is saying here about the dogs, they're not like pets. These are like wild dogs.
True. Did you? I remember. I don't know if it's a story fit for the radio, but your son-in-law, Ed, lived in India for a time, right?
Right.
He told me a story about some of the wild dogs that were over there, and it was pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but they were not.
Can be dangerous.
They were not welcome. Yeah, they were not welcome animals. Like here, if you see a stray dog, people are like, "Oh," and they might give it some food and pat it, and then be
Go
on their
there
way.
if you're not careful. They're almost like coyotes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy.
They will they will get you.
These are the dogs Jesus is talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. So you would see these wild dogs somewhere outside the city walls scavenging for food, or even humans. I mean, they would attack them because sometimes a lot of people who were sick or leprous would be left outside the city walls. So they had to defend themselves against these wild dogs.
Wow.
So these are not nice little fluffy pets.
These are they're not poodles.
This is
not
Fido.
Not man's best friend. No. This is a whole different kind of creature. And you could almost, let's say you're leaving the city, going to another city, or you're going to a farmland, from this place, you can hear those dogs barking out there. You can see them growling. You can see a pack of them chasing after something. So imagine that. I hope that puts some fear in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? I'm going somewhere with this, because when Jesus says here in Matthew 7:6, do not give what is holy to the dogs, he's telling us, I believe, that when you have a heart that truly cares about a person, cares enough in the sense that you have examined your heart first, you have confessed your sin, there's not a big log sticking out of your eye, and then you see a speck in your brother's eye, and you're like, okay, I am coming from a heartfelt, genuine concern, without hypocrisy, without ulterior motives. I'm coming out of love.
Right.
To help you. But then if you notice that that person is not willing and ready to receive,
they're just going to attack you.
He's going to attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying don't confront people who are just going to try to bite you. Just try to turn it on you.
You're giving something holy, but you're giving it to a wild dog.
That's a good point. When we judge people in love, it is a holy thing. And we're trying to do that with people who have no holiness, have no interest in God's holiness.
Yeah, have no desire for your help, have no
Brother,
desire
I'm
for
coming
your
to
love.
you right now, and I genuinely care for you, okay? And I've been there, and I prayed over this, and I've examined my heart, and I have nothing to gain, but everything to give, and it's coming from a heart of love. That shirt is just stupid.
That's all I could think of. Was
Y'all do it together.
All I could think was that one
I was
video.
waiting for the right moment. I saw Ryan out of the corner of my eye. I was like, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going. I was just waiting for the right moment.
Did is like on cue.
I was waiting. I looked at him and I was like, he's going to do it.
This is why to this day people think John and I are the same person.
We think so similarly. There's a guy. There's a YouTube video of this Australian. For anyone who doesn't know what that was, there's an Australian guy in this news video where they're talking about these wild dogs.
Or is it New Zealand? I don't know.
It's New Zealand. Yeah, you're right. And he's with his wife, and he's like, they just came bounding over. He's so wild looking. We're running out of time. But
his wife is just like,
his wife is like, ooh. She like leans. She leans away from him.
I'm so glad you joined me in that.
Hey, oh yeah, man, I would never leave you hanging.
I want to see that video.
We need to make that.
That's a reel.
That's a reel.
Yeah.
100%.
But that's what we're talking about. The dingoes, the wild dogs.
Yeah, for real.
Ferocious, ravenous, roaming predators.
They'll do that, man.
And that's what some people will do.
Yeah.
And I have seen people, genuine, loving, godly, full of Jesus people, trying to do that to somebody and had their head bit off.
Yeah. We have people write into the show from time to time. We don't talk about it because I don't want to give them attention, but we have people writing into the show saying inflammatory things because they want us to address them so that they can continue the fight. They just want to fight.
Yeah. And so in those situations, you just have to say, I am throwing something that is holy to the dog. And it's not going to be worth it. I'm going to have my hand bit off. It's going to be a bad experience. It's not worth it. Or nor cast your pearls before swine. Means you have something, you're giving somebody a very valuable lesson, truth, principle that has taken you years to understand and experience. This can radically change their lives for the better. But they're not ready for it. They're just a pig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these aren't like your cute, like, babe in the big city. I almost said the pig city, like Wilbur on Charlotte's Web.
Yeah,
kind of little
this
piggies.
Isn't Babe. This isn't Wilbur. These are nasty, gross, dirty hogs.
Did you see? Didn't you tell me like that in some parts of India there would be like pigs like on the street and stuff?
Some parts?
Yeah.
There's a lot of parts.
Really? Is it all over the place?
Many parts.
many parts.
Wow.
Many countless parts in countless cities in India.
And here's the thing: is like you could feed them. You could throw like some nice pristine food down there, or you can throw some slop, and they're going to
matter to them.
Way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole point. You're sharing with somebody your heartfelt wisdom, things you have went through in life, difficulties you have endured, and you have this deep lesson you're sharing with somebody, and they're being like, well, you know, and they can crack a joke about something stupid, and you go, and then people's feelings get hurt.
Yeah.
And my answer to them is, what made you think they wanted to hear your great wisdom from your heart?
Right.
What made you think that?
Yeah.
Well, I felt this is going to help them. It's not the Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
it was your
pride.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
And your heart will mislead you. The Holy Spirit will never, ever, ever mislead you.
That's right.
But most of the time, we're not listening to the Holy Spirit. We're listening to our hearts.
100%.
And if you don't listen to your heart, by all means, go do that. But don't say that's the Holy Spirit who led you. No, you felt like my heart goes out to you, and I know you need to hear this. Now, let me back up for a moment. When it comes to the gospel, always be ready to share the gospel.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that person is ready to receive it or not, be willing to share. Now, sometimes you may, sometimes you may not. It all depends. But be willing to do that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who's making a horrible life choice. They are doing something evil, immoral, illegal, and you feel like, I need to stop them because let me tell you much. Make sure that person is willing to receive it.
I agree 100%. And I think that's one of the worst pieces of advice Hollywood has instilled in us is to follow our heart.
Yeah.
Because our heart is so wicked and deceitful. Yeah. And the one thing that I think I've learned, if I walked away from Clearview with any one thing that I've learned, it is that my pity is one of the most dangerous things to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That I have. Like my pity for other people.
Well, listen to what it says right here. Nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces.
Right. It's not just that the pearls get messed up. It's now the hogs are attacking you.
Right. It's not. Yeah. And it's not that just like, hey, it's not. And I love that. It's not that you're wasting something good. It's like they will devour you.
You are in danger.
Yeah. They don't
that's
care.
happened, by the way.
Yeah.
There have been places where big hogs, a farmer or somebody slipped and fell into the sloth, and it's not sloth.
Yeah. The slop.
Slop.
Yeah.
And they turn around and
ate them.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I remember watching that with my grandparents, that scene in The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy falls in the pig pen, and I remember being like, "Well, it's just there's some pigs," and they were like, "No, that's dangerous. Those pigs will eat you. They will.
You gotta get out of there.
They will hurt
around.
you.
This isn't cute little piglet that you're holding.
These are like
dangerous.
almost like a wild boar.
Yeah.
They will hurt you.
I mean, they are boar family.
Yeah. That's right. I think it's just one of those things that our pity gets us in trouble. I can't tell you how many times my either false or just foolish pity for someone else has created such a monster.
Right.
Yeah. And then also, not only in a personal relationship that it can happen, but also let's say you're out in public and somebody's doing something. Now, if it's something that's going to hurt someone and your helping will keep that from happening, please step up. Don't be cowardly. Step up and help and speak out. Somebody innocent is being mistreated. Speak up, speak out. I hear anti-Semitic stuff. I'm going to speak out.
Yeah.
There's no place for, the Jewish people this and Jewish people that. And I'm like, hey, what do you mean by that? And I'll stop. If I feel like a Jewish person is being attacked, who's standing right there.
Right.
But if that's not happening and this person is just ignorant, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about why they're wrong for being anti-Semitic. I'm just going to walk away. It's like, you're not worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's wisdom.
Yeah.
That's wisdom.
Not worth your time. Man, so helpful for us. I feel like that's going to course correct for a lot of people who are trying to like, man, I feel like my wisdom or my advice is never being heeded, and like the discussions I have aren't going anywhere. Are you really counting the cost? Is this a worthwhile investment of your time? And are you being led by the Holy Spirit or by your heart?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Great reminder for us. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, if it was helpful for you, write in and let us know. 252-582-5028. Or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Don't forget, you can partner with us financially on that same website. Scroll to the bottom, click that donate button, and let us know it's coming from our Clearview Today Show family. John, what's coming up on tomorrow's episode?
You know, it's kind of funny that we ended on wisdom, because tomorrow we are talking about that. Wisdom and experience. The two things, do they necessarily go hand in hand? You know, do we have to learn the hard way? Is that, you know, some people, it feels like that's the only way they learn. I know that seems like that's the only way my son's going to learn. But does it have to be that way? We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Man, so good for us. Make sure you guys are here. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.